want to drive this. Woo! He killed himself with his own tank. He hopped out of the tank to try to hop into the heli, and he ran himself over. Bro, he's so pissed. He's deleting this game 100%. What's going on, guys? My name is KingProdigy, and in today's video, we're going to be bringing you guys the best settings, in my opinion, on Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I keep getting asked this question a lot on stream, so I figured I would just make a video kind of explaining a little bit more in depth for people, just so that way everybody understands why I'm using certain settings as opposed to others. There are a lot more customizable settings in this game in comparison to previous Call of Duties, so it's caused a lot of confusion, and I think I've found the best settings. But first, if we could shoot for 50 likes on this video, I would really appreciate it. That would help me out tremendously. And of course, if you guys are not subscribed, make sure you guys sub with those post notifications on to stay up to date with all of my videos. I'm going to be uploading a lot of class setups and tips this year because literally one attachment on one gun could change the entire feel of how the gun works. Alright, so we're going to actually start from right to left. We're actually going to start with the audio settings first. The audio mix that I prefer to use is Boost High. This is the setting that I see most pros and a lot of other people using as well, because it seems to me at least to amplify footsteps, or at least make them more clear and compared to other things. So that's why I use the Boost High preset when it comes to the audio. You can turn off the music if you guys want. Sometimes the music volume can get kind of annoying in certain scenarios. Say, like, for example, if you're capping a Dawn flag at the end of the game and the game's close, you'll hear like a bunch of AIDS music. So up to you whether or not you want to have that on. But yeah, literally besides that, on the audio settings, I typically don't touch anything other than the audio mix or the hit marker sounds. Visually, I'm using brightness of 60. As I'm sure you guys have noticed, there's a lot of darker areas, especially when you're like going in and out of buildings. And so in my opinion, it helps me a little bit to be able to see people when I'm kind of in that state of going through a doorway or out of a doorway. It helps me see people that are kind of hiding in the darker areas. So that's why I use a little bit higher of a brightness. Make sure as well, film grain by default is turned on. This like adds like a bunch of like pixelation and just like really, it just really F's up the clarity, to be honest with you, of the picture. So make sure the first thing you do when you go to your general settings is just turn the film grain off. You don't want to have it on whatsoever. Also, the two other super important settings you need to change in the general tab, or just the general graphics tab, you need to turn off world motion blur and weapon motion blur. If you can kind of see here from this example on the right, when you're like looking around trying to see people and you have like these like hazy things both on the side of your screen and on your gun when you're just moving in general, it really kind of narrows your visibility, and it's actually gonna get you killed a lot because you're not gonna be able to see people that you otherwise would have been able to see with the motion blurs off. So make sure you guys are not using either of the motion blurs. They are both bad. And now for the controller settings that I use, I have been playing on 8.75.75. Now, there's a couple of different things that I want you guys to try. Everybody is going to be 100% different, so this sensitivity is not going to 100% work for you. I'm not going to lie to you like other people. Some people tell you to run like 5-6 sensitivity and you'll be good to go, and they'll leave it at that. They'll be like, oh, that's the best. You need to actually spend some time trying to figure out a sensitivity that you are comfortable with, that fits the kind of play style in this game that is giving you the best success. So what do I mean by that, right? So I like to rush around a lot, right? I like to run around and get with submachine guns and ARs. I don't really like to play slower, so I need a little bit higher of a sensitivity. And also kind of leading into the playing fast too, because of crossplay, people are going to be playing me that are using mouse and keyboard, and because it is just pubs, I want to be able to compete with some of these people who can just in one swipe be totally turn around, no problem. So I think having a higher sensitivity for me is helpful. Now, in previous Call of Duties, I played 6.6.1. A lot of people on this COD play 6.6.1, just like people did on BO4. That was like pretty much the standard sensitivity that a lot of people use, a lot of pros used. And because I played 6.6.1, I actually dropped my ADS to 0.75 for both my high zoom and my low zoom, and 0.75 of 8 is just 3/4 8, and that is literally 6. So this allows me to be precise and kind of have that same sensitivity feel when I aim in with my gun, but I'm able to look around a little faster. So that helps me a lot, in my personal opinion. It's actually won me a lot of gunfights too, because hip firing in this game is super overpowered. If you guys haven't already realized that too, I literally get hip fired all the time, and it's like super annoying. I think having a little bit higher of a sensitivity helps me win more gunfights that I'm hip firing in. So again, those are all the reasons why I think that having a higher sensitivity is definitely a bit of a benefit if you can control it, right? If you can't control it, it's not worth it because you're not going to hit anything, right? So moving on to this, the aim response curve is something that has been highly debated and talked about. Even the pros are trying out different settings when it comes to the aim response curve type. A lot of people that I have seen playing at a very high level are either using standard or dynamic. Now, not to confuse tons of people, but dynamic's explanation is literally terrible. Reverse S-curve mapping for fine aim rate control. I guarantee you probably less than half of the people even know what the hell that means graphically. So I'm gonna simplify for you. Dynamic has a little bit lower of a sensitivity when you initially are moving your analog stick around. And because it has a little bit of a lower sensitivity just around the center of your analog stick, it allows you to be super precise pretty easily while still allowing you to snap between targets, because as you get further from the center of the analog stick, the sensitivity actually slowly increases, so by the time you're at the outer edge, it feels normal. So in my case, like 6. And in my opinion, that is super important, because a lot of these maps are giant, and I think it's difficult on the standard aim response curve to hit people from further away than it is on the dynamic aim response curve. So dynamic, short and simple, allows you to be more accurate more easily. Try it out for yourself, but personally, dynamic is way better than standard. This aim response curve also will totally alter the way that the game feels. So just make sure that when you aim in and you're trying it out, give yourself a little bit of time to get used to it and see for yourself if you like it or not. Like I said, I personally love it. There are 3 different aim assist methods, or you can just totally turn it off. There's standard, which just feels like every other COD. Precision, it only kicks in when you're aiming close to people. And then there's focusing, which focusing is supposed to be the easiest quote to get used to for new players. But to be honest with you, I don't notice much of a difference with it. So I recommend standard. I think standard is the perfect kind of happy medium between all of these settings. And of course, it feels the most familiar from previous Call of Duties. So that's why I use these settings. Again, I'd say honestly, the most important one out of this is just the aim response curve, because it will totally alter how the game feels and how accurate you are. And that is actually going to be it. I know it was a kind of short video, but I really wanted to just kind of pump out some of my settings, kind of get your guys' general feel on them. If you guys use different settings than me, feel free to let me know in the comments. Also as well, make sure you guys comment down below your favorite gun, or maybe a gun that you want to see me make a class setup video on, because I'll happily be making videos on all gun requests that you guys want to see, so that way I can keep you guys up to date with the best class setups on the guns that you guys like to use. And until next time, guys, this has been KingProdigy. Hopefully you guys had a fantastic evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you guys are at, and peace.